So we've now determined what the issue is. We've got our disorganized collection of music information. It's in different locations and boxes and on racks. It's in different media. It's on CD, some on vinyl, some are on tapes. We've got it all scattered around and very disorganized, so when we go to find a specific artist or a specific type of music, it's very difficult to round it all up. So we've decided we're going to create a relational database that's going to contain all of our music in a library, make it easy for us to find specific pieces of information, such as if we have a party that's got an 80s theme, for example, we want to be able to round up all of our 80s music. Well, to do that, we need to figure out now what fields we need to create in what tables so that we can get the information in. First of all, that's called data entry, but then make it easy to pull that information out. So let's determine the fields now that belong in our database. In our music library, we know that all of our albums have titles, so there's going to be an album title. We also know that each of the albums has an artist. Now, some of the albums may have various artists, so the artist field in the album table might be able to include an actual name of an artist, or it might just be various. Keep that in mind when we talk about songs. We'd like to be able to track the year that the album was created, even the decade. That's handy because if it was done in 82 and another CD that we have was done in 89 and we want to be able to pull out all the 80s music, we want to be able to get a nice report on all of the albums that were done in the 80s. The media, in other words, is it on CD? Is it on vinyl? Is it on tape? Why is that handy? Well, maybe we're asked, how many songs do you have on vinyl? How many albums do you have that are on CD? And it would be easy to pull up that information. How about the location? Is it on a rack? Is it in a box? When we use the location field, we'll be able to find our CDs, our vinyl records, our tapes quickly and easily. Of course, there's going to be some manual work on the other side of our database, which is to actually mark up the racks and the boxes and label them properly. How about genre? We want to be able to find all the jazz music that we have, all of the rock music. The songs themselves, we need to be able to narrow it down to a specific song if we want. Give me all the songs by the group Boston, for example. So that means that we're going to have some other information that's pertaining to an album, the actual songs on that album. How about the condition? That might be important. Is it in good condition? Is it in bad condition? We might want to be able to track that. As well as a rating. Maybe we want to be able to give 3 stars to our favorites, 1 star to our least favorites, and maybe 2 stars for right in the middle. We don't care either way. So these are the fields, and right now they're just scattered about, still very disorganized, but we've got a good handle now on what we need to track. Now keep in mind, this is not etched in stone. When we create our tables using these fields and we realize a little bit later on, hey, we're missing some information here, it's easy to add a field to a table later on. We'll look at that when we get to modifying your table design after it's been created. But we still do need to get organized. We need to take these pieces of information that we're going to be tracking, the various fields here, and put them into the separate tables that are going to make it nice and organized for us. And of course, remembering the 3 normal forms that we talked about, we want to keep normalization in mind too. So when we get organized, we see that we might have 5 different tables. An album table, a table with just songs in it, another one with the various locations, another one for the genre, and another one for the media. So in the album table, for example, we'd see things like the album title, the artist, the year that the album came out, the decade as well would be good in there. Our rating system would be good. It relates to the album itself, as does the condition. Now in the songs table, each of the song titles from an album will show up in the songs table as well as the artist. Now you'll notice we've got artist here twice. We've got it in the album table and in the songs table. Remember that we could have CDs or records or tapes that have various artists. So the album title might be Sound Explosion. The artist in the album table would be various. And then the individual songs in the songs table would have their own actual artist singing that song. The locations table will have at least 1 field for the location. Of course, we're going to need additional fields in each of these tables when we start to talk about joining them together or relating them. The genres will have a genre field in there, and the media as well will be kept separate. We can join these all together into one big happy family when we start talking about the primary and foreign keys a little bit later on. So we've kind of narrowed it down to the fields we want, and now we've organized it into the various tables. We're still working on paper here. The very next step now is going to be talking about those keys, the primary and the foreign key. So which is the field that will be considered the primary key? Is it there already, or do we need to add a field? And then in the related table, the foreign key that matches up the two tables. So that's what we're going to talk about next.